The day Tom Price, the heir to the Price fortune, proposed to me, I was scared to death. I broke up with him on the spot and ran. Then I went back to my old life, selling fried chicken in front of the local elementary school. The kids went wild, shouting, "The fried chicken princess is back." Tom wouldn't give up. He tracked me down at my food stall to corner me. "You'd rather come back here and sell this crappy fried chicken than marry me, is that it?" I nodded. "Yup." He gritted his teeth, furious. "Fine. Then I'll go fund your competition. We'll see how long your little business lasts." After that, Tom started hiring people every day to buy out the other 2 fried chicken stalls on the street at inflated prices, just to give the food away to passersby for free. My stall got deserted. Tom smugly counted the days, waiting for me to go broke and come begging. But there was something he didn't know. The fried chicken prince on the east end of the street was my brother, and the second fried chicken princess on the west end was my sister. The winds of fortune were finally blowing our way. It's been a year since I quit showbiz. I came back to my small hometown and got back in the game, setting up my fried chicken stall again. $6 a pop. Golden and crispy on the outside, juicy and savory on the inside, all brushed with my family's secret sweet and spicy sauce. So good you'd stuff it in your mouth on doomsday and wait for the end with a smile. I set up in the same old spot, right outside the elementary school. On my first day back, I was mobbed. A lot of my old regulars, who were in middle school now, made a special trip just to see me. The kids chattered and laughed in front of my stall, cheering, "The fried chicken princess is back." Soon enough, someone filmed a video of me and posted it online. Somehow, a minor celeb like me ended up trending on X a year after I'd left the industry. Some people praised me for being down to earth and bravely pursuing the life I wanted. Others accused me of putting on a show, just trying to stir up hype. And then there were the theories that my rich benefactor had dumped me, and I was forced to change careers because I couldn't make it in Hollywood anymore. Where there's buzz, there's traffic. A bunch of influencers made special trips to our little town just to film me. So when Tom showed up in front of me, I wasn't surprised. I just treated him like any other customer and asked, "How many?" "All of them." I gave him a friendly warning. "I've still got 50 left. You won't be able to eat all that." I said, "All of them." I didn't argue. "That'll be 300. Since we know each other, I can give you a 1% discount." "Don't bother." Tom tossed a check on my counter. I snuck a peek. $1 million. Goddamn rich people. He looked at me calmly and said, "Emily, I'm buying your time after you close up tonight. Just an hour. Don't say no." With a big spender buying me out, I closed up shop before it even got dark. Our town is small and remote, surrounded by mountains on 3 sides. No luxury stores, no big malls, none of that. I picked the most expensive restaurant in town. But its decor wasn't even as nice as the convenience store near Tom's mansion. I hadn't seen him in a year. He seemed a little thinner, which made his delicate features look even sharper and more intense. The heat was on inside. He was just wearing a white shirt, sleeves casually rolled up. Maybe because it was just the 2 of us, Tom dropped the polite act from the afternoon. He immediately demanded, "Emily, you'd rather run back to this godforsaken place to sell your crappy fried chicken than marry me, is that it?" "Yes." I nodded. No further explanation. I'd already explained everything when we broke up a year ago. That day, Tom had planned to propose. But for someone who loved money as much as I did, the moment I saw that massive diamond ring, I immediately ended things. The Prices are one of the most powerful and established families in New York City. And Tom, their only son, had been treated like a prince his whole life, proud, successful, always getting his way. This was a man who had never been humbled, yet he dropped his pride and his dignity, knelt down, and grabbed my legs, crying as he begged me to explain. "Why? Emily, you have to give me a reason." I only said 4 words. "I'm not in your league." Tom didn't believe me. That's just an excuse. Marriage is just a piece of paper. As long as you're willing to marry me, you don't have to worry about anything else. I'll handle it. I laughed at his naivety. For normal people, maybe love is all you need to get married. But for someone like Tom? Impossible. I had a million farewells stored up inside me, but I couldn't get a single word out. Because I knew Tom wouldn't understand, and he didn't want to listen. He gripped my shoulders tightly. His eyes were bloodshot. Emily, I just want to know if you still love me. As long as you love me, I don't care who tries to stop us. I won't back down an inch. I turned my back to him, my voice calm. Tom, I don't love you anymore. Let me go. A year later, facing Tom again, my answer was the same. I stopped loving you a long time ago. What's the point of making a scene, Mr. Price? Hearing those words, Tom looked like he was about to grind his teeth to dust. Emily, say that again. I was lying. But as much as I loved Tom, I loved myself more. I loved my right to choose, a life of freedom, the taste of independence. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So I didn't change my mind. I looked Tom straight in the eye. I said, I stopped love. The rest of my words were swallowed by his sudden kiss. He kissed me so fiercely. Like a drowning man breaking the surface, desperate for his first breath of air. I clutched his sleeves tightly, and when my senses finally returned, I pushed him away hard. Tom touched his lip with his fingers. Seeing the specks of blood, his eyes filled with hurt. Emily, you bit me. I was getting angry. If you try anything like that again, Mr. Price, I'm calling the cops. Fine. You've got guts. Tom was livid. Then I'll go fund your competition and see how long your little business can last. One day, you'll come crying back to me. He stormed out the door. $1 million for 10 minutes of my time. And a table full of paid-for food left behind. I called my brother and sister to come eat. While they were chowing down, I gave them their instructions. Starting tomorrow, don't worry about customer demand. Just make as much fried chicken as you possibly can. My brother and sister looked up at the same time, their eyes wide and innocent. Why, sis? I smirked. A cash cow is coming to make us rich. There are 3 fried chicken stalls on our street. The other 2 are run by my brother and sister. The legendary Fried Chicken Prince and Second Fried Chicken Princess. Everyone in Havenwood knew. Everyone except Tom. He started sending people to buy out all the chicken from the other 2 stalls and give it away to people on the street for free. Maybe it was a spending habit unique to the ultra-rich. The chicken sold for 6 apiece. Tom wasn't satisfied. He insisted on adding 2 zeros to the price. As if only that figure could match his distinguished status. We made a ton of money, so we were happy. The kids got free fried chicken, so they were happy. And Tom, thinking his plan to force me back to him was working, was even happier. And so, a perfect win-win-win situation was achieved. That evening, my brother was cleaning up the stall while my sister and I sat on the couch, calculating our profits. The TV was on. The entertainment news segment started. Sources say the wedding date for the Price heir and the daughter of the Song family will be set soon. The corporate marriage is all but a done deal. I didn't even look up. I just kept tapping on the calculator. Until my sister poked me. Sis, you've tried to subtract 500 from 1,000 like 12 times now. Still haven't figured it out? I realized I'd zoned out. I was annoyed with myself. So pathetic. What was there to be heartbroken about? I already knew this was coming. Last month, Sophia's Song came to see me. She told me she and Tom were getting married soon. Congratulations. I was busy frying chicken. A drop of hot oil splattered on my hand, something I was totally used to, but for some reason, my nose started to sting. Emily, I know you and Tom were truly in love, but at our level, love is the most useless thing there is. The title of Mrs. Price is a position only I can hold, and hold securely. He's been fighting with his family over you for more than a year. Emily, you're not stupid. You have to know that if he keeps this up, the Prices won't abandon their son. They'll just get rid of you. Sophia was exactly what I pictured when I thought of a high society heiress. Elegant, beautiful, and extremely intelligent and rational. I used to hate her condescending attitude. Every time she looked at me, it was like she was examining a silly, clueless little pet. After leaving Tom, I actually started to admire her a little. Miss Song, Tom and I have already broken up. I'm not interested in his affairs. You came all this way. Let me fry you a chicken cutlet on the house. Sophia lifted her chin, her face a mask of pride. I don't eat street food. That's a shame, I said. It's really good, I promise. Sophia bit her lip, then reluctantly squeezed out a few words. I guess I could have one bite. I learned the craft from my dad as a kid. I've fried enough chicken to circle Havenwood. But that one piece of chicken, that day? I burned it. Sorry, I got distracted. Just then, Tom happened to show up to check on my failing business. When he saw Sophia, he immediately went on high alert, pulling me behind him. What are you doing here? Relax, I'm not here to cause trouble for your little girlfriend. Your mother said you've been here for a while and told me to bring you back. Tom leaned against my stall. He started acting like a child. He refused to leave, no matter what she said. Until Sophia held up her phone. It was a call from his mother. Tom was on the phone for a long time. He went from annoyed and impatient to letting out a heavy, defeated sigh. I know, Mom. Stop threatening me with money, like I can't survive without the family. He turned to me. Emily, wait for me. I'll be back soon. Then he left with Sophia. And he didn't come back for a long, long time. Honestly, a part of me thought about it at that moment. What if Tom hadn't listened to his family? What if he'd stood his ground and chosen to stay in Havenwood, by my side? Just once. Maybe my heart would have wavered, just a little. But it was no use. He didn't turn back. And thank God for that. I never wavered either. As the video of me selling fried chicken blew up online, tourism in all of Havenwood saw a noticeable boost. The local tourism board arranged for a local food blogger to shoot a video with me. The shoot went smoothly. In the behind-the-scenes segment at the end, the blogger, Jenna, and I were just chatting when she casually said, "You know, Emily, we've actually met before." I couldn't remember for the life of me and didn't think much of it. Until the video went viral. That one sentence caught the attention of a lot of netizens. Jenna had 2 social media accounts, a main one for food reviews and a smaller one for travel vlogs. The smaller account never took off, and she'd stopped updating it a long time ago. But her followers dug up an old video from that account. The destination was a mountain near our city. In the footage, 2 young women had just reached the halfway point when they were stopped by a man dressed as a monk. The man said to one of the women, "You seem troubled, benefactor. I can read your fortune for you. Just $200, and it's very accurate." The other woman was wary and whispered, "Sis, it's a scam. Let's just go." Plenty of people in the area had already exposed these scams. But even though the woman knew, she didn't leave. Or maybe, she was just holding on to a sliver of hope. "Master, can you tell me about the fate of 2 people?" "Of course." The monk pinched his fingers together. "Benefactor, please tell me your loved one's date of birth." April 12, 1997. Tom's birthday. The monk closed his eyes, muttering to himself. The woman clutched her sleeves, looking nervous. After a long pause, the monk sighed and whispered something in her ear. The woman's eyes instantly turned red. "Okay, I understand." Jenna, who was standing nearby, couldn't contain her curiosity any longer. She went up and asked, "Hey, what did he just tell you?" The woman replied, "He said you have to learn to let go of attachments. Not every connection is meant to have a happy ending." Jenna was close enough to recognize her. The woman was Emily, the actress who was rumored to have recently quit the industry. Since they were from the same area, Jenna had paid a little more attention when she saw the entertainment news. She also saw that the edge of the woman's face mask was soaked with tears. She wasn't nearly as indifferent as she pretended to be. Jenna felt a pang of sympathy. "So, do you still love him?" "Of course I do." The woman smiled openly. "The head knows one thing, but the heart knows another." The sun was brutal that day. Both Jenna and I were wearing sun hats and face masks. I thought I was well disguised, but online sleuths matched the shirt I was wearing that day to one I'd worn at an airport once. A one-of-a-kind, hand-painted shirt. The design on it was painted by Tom himself. There was no denying it. The video ended, freezing on the date it was filmed. The 93rd day after Tom and I broke up. In that moment, every lie I had ever told Tom was brutally exposed. It wasn't just me who was trending. It was Tom, too. Late at night, someone spotted him at the airport, rushing back to New York from overseas. He must have left in a hurry. In the video someone shot, his face, usually impeccably handsome in public, had a bit of stubble, and the exhaustion in his eyes was impossible to hide. Someone bold enough asked him directly, "Mr. Price, was that you mentioned in the video?" "You and Emily." Tom and I had never appeared together in front of the cameras. There were rumors years ago that he was my sugar daddy. But the gap between our statuses was just too huge. Climbing up to his level was next to impossible. Besides, Tom was always generous. If I had him as a backer, I wouldn't have stayed a D-lister for so long. So not many people believed it, and the rumor eventually died down. Until today. That old rumor was dredged back up. In the video, Tom faced the camera and gave a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Don't worry, I'm on my way to ask the other person involved about that myself. Why she says she loves me, but still won't have me." I stared at the trending topics, my heart sinking. I knew Tom was on his way to Havenwood, probably driving through the night. Outside, a storm was raging. The sound of the wind and rain was terrifyingly loud in the dead of night. I couldn't sleep a wink. I paced around the living room, trying to figure out how I was going to face him. As I was thinking, the sky started to lighten. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. It wasn't Tom. It was his mother's executive assistant, Mr. Hayes. "Miss Tang, Mrs. Price asked me to take you to New York." "The young master, he's still in the emergency room." The mountain roads were already hard to drive on. Add in the late hour and the torrential rain. Tom's car had flipped over near the edge of a cliff. At the hospital, I once again came face to face with Tom's mother. The legendary Mrs. Price, known for her ruthless, decisive tactics. Right now, she was just a mother who had cried her eyes out for her only son. "Didn't you say you would never show your face again? When did you start hooking up with my son again?" Hooking up. She was still as merciless with her words as ever. "Mrs. Price, watch your tone. It was your son who insisted on bothering me. If you hadn't been putting yourself on display, live streaming yourself selling fried chicken, would he have been able to find you? Would this accident have happened?" I clenched my fists. I took a deep breath, held it, and let it out slowly. I'd heard worse things from her before. Back then, all I wanted was to marry Tom, so when I faced his mother, all I could do was be submissive and try to please her. She could call me trashy, and I would have to stand there and smile. But now, I didn't even want Tom anymore. In my eyes, his mother was a nobody. So I couldn't be bothered to deal with her. I turned to leave. "Emily." Seeing me about to walk away, Mrs. Price panicked. "Tom has been calling your name in his sleep. He wants to see you. You have to stay with him." "Why should I?" I hated it when they ordered me around. Mr. Hayes blocked my path, politely pushing up his glasses. "Miss Tang, We are aware that the owners of the other 2 chicken stalls are your brother and sister. For the Price Corporation, destroying 2 small stalls is nothing. Frankly, even destroying 2 people wouldn't be difficult. My temples throbbed with anger. Are you threatening me? Mr. Hayes lowered his head, his posture respectful. I'm merely following orders. The young master's safety is our top priority. This is why I hated New York. Why I hated the so-called world of high society. Everyone is draped in a glamorous facade, always talking about the dignity and honor of their prestigious families, but the backstabbing and schemes happening in the shadows are dirtier than you can imagine. I was just an ordinary person. I didn't have the energy or the courage to fight back anymore. I could only stay in New York for the time being. Tom's surgery was a success, but he remained unconscious. I sat by his bedside. I held his hand, and tears I couldn't control streamed down my face. Tom was rarely this fragile, this vulnerable. Ever since I met him, he had been full of life, seemingly capable of anything. Back then, my dad was critically ill. He needed surgery and expensive specialty drugs. The money from my little stall wasn't enough to cover the costs. My brother and sister stayed in town to keep earning, while I went to the big city to try my luck. I was scouted by chance and offered a spot in a talent competition. I told them I couldn't sing or dance. The scouts' reply, 28 days, $20,000, room and board included, changed my mind. I was eliminated anyway. As I was packing my things backstage, getting ready to leave, I happened to run into Tom. He was wearing a black trench coat, standing quietly by the side of the stage, tall and striking. I was smitten at first sight. I walked up with my phone out. Hey, handsome. Can I get your number? I don't add strang. He looked down at me, his eyes widening slightly, and the words died on his lips. Sure. I always thought he was just a regular crew member. Until someone asked me, Emily, when did you get so close with Mr. Price? Which Mr. Price? The heir to the Price Corporation in New York. You know, the main sponsor of our show. It wasn't Tom's status that made me like him. But his status certainly brought me a lot of perks. Like the time someone, for the first time ever, celebrated my birthday by setting off 2 hours of fireworks over the Hudson River. Like when my dad was critically ill, and one phone call was all it took to get the best doctors and medicine. Like after I was eliminated from the competition, and Tom casually asked, "Do you want to act? You can sign with my company. You'll make good money." He got me the best resources. And I got to keep all the pay. Later, at a party, I overheard some people talking. You guys hear Tom's got his eye on some Cinderella? Of course. He even started a whole agency just to sign her and chase her. Talk about going the extra mile. Well, the girl is gorgeous. When he gets tired of her, I wouldn't mind her being my mistress for a couple of days. I went to find Tom that same day. Mr. Price, what exactly are your intentions with me? Tom hadn't expected me to be so direct. He looked down, the tips of his ears turning red. My intentions are, I like you. I felt a little thrill of joy. But mostly, I was nervous. Tom, I'm a respectable person. I don't do the whole mistress thing. I knew I could never fit into his world with my background. If Tom was interested in me, it was probably just for fun. If all I wanted was his money and connections, I could have just accepted that. But I had gone and fallen for the person he was. And because I liked him, I didn't want to stay by his side in an unequal relationship. I'm a respectable person, too. I'm looking for a girlfriend, not a mistress. Tom asked me very seriously, Emily, will you be my girlfriend? The kind you date for life. Being Tom's girlfriend was a wonderful thing. He gave me his whole heart, wanting to lay all the best things in the world at my feet. That's why the scripts he picked for me were always the best. Some of them had already cast other actors, only to be changed to me at the last minute. I only found out about these things after being passive-aggressively called out by people in the industry several times. I told Tom over and over again to stop. They're all saying you're my sugar daddy. Tom held me, a carefree smile on his face. What sugar daddy? Can't I spoil my own girlfriend? But it's not fair. My acting skills were average at best. The scripts Tom chose were great, but I couldn't carry them. I was just wasting good material. When I used to do part-time jobs at other companies, I was targeted by people with connections many times. Project proposals I'd pulled all-nighters to create were stolen and claimed by them. Now, I was the one with connections, snatching away opportunities that others had worked hard to audition for. I just felt ashamed. But Tom didn't get it. He'd had everything handed to him his whole life and thought all connections and resources should naturally revolve around him. He didn't understand why I was throwing a tantrum. He just kept trying to coax me. Okay, baby. I'll listen to you. I won't interfere with your work anymore. I refused what Tom handed me, insisting on earning it myself. Which is why I never really made it big in Hollywood. I knew his friends talked about me behind my back, saying I didn't know what was good for me. Some would even deliberately ask in front of me, "Hey, Tom, when are you planning on getting married?" Tom would say, "Whatever my Emily wants." Back then, I couldn't read the looks in his friends' eyes. It took me a long time to understand. It was scorn, amusement, resignation, and even a little pity. They all knew Tom and I would never get married. Only the two of us didn't. When it came to our relationship, Tom was much more optimistic than I was. The first time his mother suspected he was dating someone, he admitted it right away. "Mom, you're definitely going to love her. Emily, my mom is definitely going to love you." That's what he told both of us. I met Mrs. Price for the first time at a small cocktail party. I was just an ordinary girl from a small town. Maybe not even ordinary, I came from a poor family. To avoid looking out of place, I bought a dress that cost over $10,000 with my own money, not on Tom's card. I even did some last-minute cramming, memorizing luxury brand logos, Western dining etiquette, high society table manners, and all that. But none of it mattered. I was so nervous that day, wearing 4-inch heels, that I accidentally stepped on my own hem and twisted my ankle. Luckily, Tom caught me, so I didn't end up face-planting in front of everyone. Mrs. Price stood on the second-floor balcony. Swirling the wine in her glass, she looked down on me. Someone next to her asked, "Mrs. Price, is that your future daughter-in-law?" She scoffed and commented on me. A classless thing. The whole room erupted in laughter. 3 little words made me cry for a whole day. I'll never forget the way everyone looked at me. Like I was an animal at the zoo. Sophia was there, too. She glanced at my swollen ankle. "If you can't walk in them, don't wear them." Then she offered me her spare pair of flats. I knew she and Tom were childhood friends, and she was the daughter-in-law Mrs. Price had handpicked. Because of that, I felt a natural hostility toward her. "Thank you, Miss Song, but I'm fine." In the underground parking garage, she and Tom even got into a fight over me. "You know she's not comfortable in these situations. Why did you have to bring her?" "Sophia, since when is it your place to meddle in my girlfriend's business?" "Girlfriend? How much longer is she going to be your girlfriend?" "Tom, I'm begging you, please wake up." I stood off to the side, feeling like a complete outsider. Tom went home and got into a huge fight with his mom. I kept texting him, "Don't fight because of me. I'm fine, really. Don't be mad." If Tom fought with Mrs. Price over this, I knew she would probably hold it against me. I couldn't afford to get on her bad side. A few days later, Tom moved out to live with me. "Emily, don't be afraid. I've left the Price Corporation and started my own company. As long as I'm not under anyone's thumb, no one will dare to give you a hard time. People are always fearless when they're ignorant." Only later did I realize that to make it on your own in a place like New York, money, connections, resources. You can't succeed without any of them. For a few years, Tom's business did pretty well. He thought it was all his own doing. Only I was worried. The land Tom wanted, he always managed to get at the best price. The projects Tom had his eye on, he often secured with ease, and they always turned a good profit. Of course, his hard work was part of it. But there was another, very important reason. His last name was Price. Everyone knew he was the sole heir to the Price Corporation. He seemed to be succeeding without his family's help, but in reality, he was benefiting from his status at every turn. I realized this. And I saw the massive obstacles that lay ahead for us. Tom was a rich kid who was used to a life of smooth sailing and lavish spending. If the Price family decided to crush him just to break us up, to make him experience what it's like to fall from grace into the mud, how long could he fight his family for my sake? I didn't know the answer. And I didn't dare to think about it. But every time I brought this up with Tom, he just thought I was being pessimistic. Baby, do you really not trust my love for you? How much is love worth? I didn't know. I only knew that my own birth parents were once deeply in love. Then one got laid off, and the other became permanently disabled from a work injury, never receiving compensation. They say poverty kills love. As far back as I can remember, there was always fighting in our house. Because we were so poor. Even spilling half a bag of salt could start a brawl. Pots and pans shattered on the floor as they argued, cursed, and treated each other like enemies. I could only hide in the closet, biting my fingers and crying. Later, one turned to alcohol and domestic violence, the other to gambling. I don't know who stabbed who first. All I know is they both ended up in a pool of blood. I was only 7 at the time. I was so scared. I ran through the streets like a mad person until I was knocked out and taken. A strange man put me on a train. When I woke up, the train had just stopped in Havenwood. I scrambled off the platform, but the man grabbed me by the hair and dragged me. My screams drew the attention of a lot of people from town. The kid's crying like that. Are you her parent? Could he be a kidnapper? Let her go, or we're calling the police. A small, skinny man with a hunched back was the first to rush out and save me. He would later become my dad. So you see, even ordinary people like us can't handle such a drastic fall from grace. Let alone someone like Tom. I didn't want to end up in a future where, if things got tough, we'd be at each other's throats, blaming one another, saying, if it weren't for you dragging me down, I wouldn't be in this mess today. So I took the initiative and asked to meet with Mrs. Price again. I was naive enough to think that if I was sincere enough, she would change her mind about me. And that the future for Tom and me would be free of obstacles. It was Mrs. Price's birthday. She didn't like big parties, so she only invited a few close friends and family to her home. I thought long and hard about what gift to get her. Mrs. Price was so wealthy that something expensive wouldn't impress her. I had to appeal to her interests. I learned that she also came from a humble background and had worked her way up to become a renowned opera singer. Later, she fell in love with Tom's father, and the Price family required her to give up her career to be a dedicated wife and mother. I had watched videos of Mrs. Price performing in her youth. So vibrant, so radiant. She must have loved her career very much. So I had a custom opera costume made for her. That evening, Mrs. Price called me into a room alone. This is thoughtful. Hearing those 2 words, I was so happy I could have flown. Then her tone shifted. But I still won't agree to you and Tom being together. I wouldn't give up. I wanted to fight for myself one last time. Mrs. Price, I know the Price family doesn't want a daughter-in-law who's in the entertainment industry. I never liked acting anyway, and Tom and I have already discussed it. I can quit and do something else. I can't change where I came from, but I will work hard to learn and improve myself. I won't bring shame to the Price family, and I won't hold Tom back. Mrs. Price sat serenely on the sofa, sipping her tea. At my words, she smirked, laughing at my naivety. First, Tom is my only son, the sole heir to the Price fortune. I must choose a wife for him who is his equal. Can your individual efforts compare to generations of a wealthy family's accumulation? Second, marriages between powerful families involve the exchange of resources and connections to maximize mutual benefit. And you? What can you bring to Tom and the Price family? Little girl, don't be foolish. You can't marry into our family. That's a fact. Her words were brutally honest and humiliating. I was mortified. Besides, even if I didn't stand in your way, you two wouldn't last. Why? Mrs. Price said, because the gap between you two is too big. The differences in your upbringing and ways of thinking will eventually create conflicts you can never resolve. You will never understand him, and he will never understand you. At the time, I didn't get it at all. I even boldly asked, how are you and Mr. Price back then any different from me and Tom now? Aren't you two very happy? Very happy? Mrs. Price laughed. She laughed so hard the teacup in her hand trembled. She looked up, her gaze falling on the opera costume on the table, her eyes filled with sorrow. Forget it. You should go. I don't want to waste my breath on you. Tom asked me what I talked about with his mom. I didn't tell him the truth. Your mom doesn't like me acting. She wants me to find a different job. Great. You never liked acting anyway. It's the perfect time for a break. Besides, I'm here to support you. I suddenly looked up at Tom. I want to go back to selling fried chicken. It was the trade my dad passed down to me. I was better at it than my brother and sister. Tom paused, then laughed. Sure. My woman can do whatever she wants. I thought he was genuinely supportive. So I kept telling myself, don't overthink it. See? Tom is so accepting of you. He really loves you. Tom's parents' wedding anniversary was coming up. He dragged me along to pick out a gift. Along the way, he told me stories about his parents' long and loving marriage. See, Emily? My parents had a big gap in their status too, but they're still so happy. So you have to have faith in us, okay? A flood of images flashed through my mind. Mrs. Price's question that evening. Her laugh. The look of sorrow and regret in her eyes as she glanced at the opera costume. Is Mrs. Price really happy? Of course, Tom said with certainty. Married into a wealthy family, a harmonious marriage, a loving son, so many people envy my mom's good fortune. I used to think so too. Until one day, I went with a friend from the industry to see a psychiatrist. It was a very expensive private hospital. In the hallway, I saw Mrs. Price. Having been around my friend for so long, I could tell from a single glance during an episode that Mrs. Price was suffering from depression. It was already manifesting physically. Her arm was trembling uncontrollably. She left with a lot of prescriptions, which Mr. Hayes helped carry. It was a bit warm in the hospital, and Mrs. Price subconsciously rolled up her sleeve, revealing a dense network of scars. In that moment, I felt like someone had their hands around my throat. I couldn't speak. To be that sick, it wasn't something that had happened overnight. She was forced to give up the career she was so proud of, transforming from Chinrong, the celebrated National Opera star, into the nameless Mrs. Price. Everyone said she was ruthless and iron-fisted, but that was only because her background didn't command respect. To establish herself and gain authority in that circle, she had to force herself to become the person she was today. She wasn't happy. Not at all. Even I, an outsider, could see it. But her husband and her son had no idea. I went home and didn't sleep a wink that night. Maybe that was the day my heart started to have second thoughts. But I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to be a deserter in our relationship. I desperately tried to find a sense of security in Tom. To prove to myself that I wouldn't end up like his mother. At the same time, Tom's business was hitting a rough patch. The Price family just had to put in a word with his partners and distributors, telling them not to give Tom any special treatment, and it was enough to send his business into a tailspin. Two impulsive, stressed-out hearts clashing together were bound to cause turbulence. Tom had a lot of parties with his friends. In the past, I didn't like going, and he never said a word about it. He would just whine and cuddle up to me. If you're not going, baby, then I'm not going either. What's there to talk about with them? I'd rather just spend time with you. But my repeated absences, and the subtle complaints from his friends, had built up resentment in Tom's heart. One time, when I declined another invitation, Tom finally snapped. Why are you always so antisocial? People invite you over and over, and you won't even grace them with your presence. You really think you're a big shot? I flared up instantly. Tom, those are your friends, not mine. I have no obligation to suck up to them. When they invited me, I'd go 2 or 3 times out of 10. That group of rich kids loved to show off their expensive things in front of me. And they'd always end with, haven't tried this before, have you, sis-in-law? Haven't seen one of these, have you, sis-in-law? When they talked about certain brands, they'd even make a point of showing me the logo and a description. Just so you can follow our conversation, sis-in-law. I grew up in the mud. I'd endured enough condescension and cold shoulders to instantly detect the subtle malice in people. But Tom thought I was being too sensitive. You're my girlfriend. What do they have to gain by targeting you? So I didn't bother arguing with him. I just wanted to stay as far away from those people as possible. One time, Tom was heading to another party. I knew he was calling to ask me to go with him. So I deliberately didn't answer. I was busy at home, trying to perfect my dad's secret fried chicken sauce recipe. 2 hours later, Tom came back, fuming. I tried to calm him down by offering him a freshly fried piece of chicken. Try it, it's delicious. I bet I could make a fortune selling this. I could even support you then, you know. But Tom's face was dark as he knocked the plate out of my hand. Sell fried chicken? The wife of the price heir, out selling that junk? If word got out, we'd be a laughingstock. Tom apologized to me for a long time. He said he spoke without thinking, that he was just angry. I didn't say a word. I just stared silently at the cold fried chicken on the table. I wasn't a 3-year-old child. It wasn't just angry words. It was him using his anger as an excuse to say what he really thought. Deep down, Tom looked down on small businesses like ours. He thought I was embarrassing him. It was like I could suddenly see our ending. Either Tom would completely break ties with his family for me. Then, after tasting the hardships of life, he would regret throwing everything away for some so-called love, and we would grow to resent each other. Just like my parents. Or, I would give up myself for Tom and become the perfect Mrs. Price. I'd spend my days dealing with my difficult in-laws, navigating the conflicts of high society, enduring endless ridicule, and fending off the constant stream of women throwing themselves at him. I'd completely lose my freedom, like a beautiful ornament bought and put on display. Just like Tom's parents. I didn't want a life like that. I was scared. I had already made the decision to leave. I just hadn't found the right time to bring it up. Until Tom proposed to me. He thought that if we got married, if we became a real family, everything would get better. It won't, Tom. The problems between us won't disappear just because of a marriage certificate. Tom had personally designed the proposal scene. And in that incredibly romantic setting, I broke up with him. He couldn't accept it. He cried, asking me, Emily, were you ever serious about me? Of course I was. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought Tom to meet my dad while he was still alive and proudly introduced him. Dad, this is Tom. He's my boyfriend. He wasn't my keeper. I wasn't his dependent. We were just in a serious relationship, with the goal of getting married. Before my dad passed away, he held my hand and repeatedly warned me, his voice full of worry. My girl, if you're not happy, just come home. No amount of money is more important than living a comfortable, free life. The worry in my dad's words. I finally understood. It turned out that love doesn't conquer all. Sometimes, love itself is the unconquerable mountain. I felt a twitch in my palm and jolted awake. Tom was finally conscious. His vocal cords were damaged, so he couldn't speak for now. He held my hand tightly, terrified that I would slip away the moment he looked away. When he could finally speak, the first thing he said was, "Emily, I'm begging you, can we get back together? I'm going crazy without you." He made so many promises. He said he would never interfere with my choices again, never limit my freedom, that he would listen to whatever I said. I lowered my eyes. Okay. He hadn't expected me to agree so readily. He stared for a moment, then grabbed my shoulders. Are you serious? You can't be lying to me. Tom, I have a condition. Name it. Anything. I looked toward the hospital room door. Through the glass, Mrs. Price gave me a slight nod. I spoke calmly, "Tom, I want to make a bet with you. If, within 1 year, you can completely break away from the Price Corporation and establish yourself in New York on your own, we'll get married. But if you lose, you can never come looking for me again." Tom agreed without a moment's hesitation. After he fell asleep, Mrs. Price came to see me. She had originally thought I would never let go of the Price family's influence. That I was just playing hard to get. Now, seeing how obediently I was cooperating, she was very pleased, and her attitude toward me softened considerably. "Emily, as a reward, I can grant you one wish." This was the plan we had come up with. Tom was stubborn. The more people tried to stop him, the more he felt this relationship was precious, and he became addicted to the feeling of fighting the world for love. Giving him hope, letting him try and fail on his own, was the only way to make him accept defeat gracefully. As for the wish, I had already thought of it. "Mrs. Price, I heard the Price Corporation is planning to build a new tourist resort. Would you consider our town, Havenwood? Havenwood is beautiful, with mountains and rivers, perfect for developing tourism. It's just too poor. The town's infrastructure is a mess. Many roads aren't even paved, and everything floods when it rains. We needed a chance, an investment. From my return to Havenwood to sell fried chicken, to filming videos and posting them online, to collaborating with a well-known local blogger. It was all part of my plan. To use my own fame to generate buzz and get more people to see this beautiful little town. Havenwood saved me and raised me. I had to do something for it. Tom was very busy that year. We mostly just video chatted. He still sent people to buy out my brother and sister's chicken stalls. I finally couldn't take it anymore and told him, "You know all that money you're spending is going right into my pocket, right?" Tom laughed out loud. "Silly, I've known for a long time those were your family's stalls. Why do you think I was paying $600 for a $6 piece of chicken? Did you really think I had that much money to burn? I was just worried you weren't doing well, and I wanted to send you some more money. Most of that money, I donated to the orphanage in Havenwood." The director was so grateful he nearly knelt before me. Their children could finally have meat, eggs, and milk every day. I thought to myself, if you do good deeds, you probably earn good karma. I went back to the temple on the mountain near Havenwood to make a wish. The money was Tom's, so please give all the good karma to him. Please, watch over Tom and grant him health, peace, and success in everything he does. Putting aside all the arguments and conflicts, Tom was the most amazing person I had ever met in my life. He gave me 7 dreamlike years, gave me the affection I craved most, and even extended my father's life by 5 years when he had late-stage liver cancer, ensuring he had the most advanced treatments and suffered far less. I crawled out of the mud and walked with him through the bright, dazzling world for a while. Now, we were each returning to our own places. I held no resentment or hatred toward him. Only gratitude. Tom got busier and busier. Sometimes, 3 days would go by without a single call. I heard his company was in big trouble. The Price Corporation had cut off his supply chains, both upstream and downstream. To make things even harder, they deliberately bid against him, leaving Tom backed into a corner everywhere he turned. His cash flow was about to snap. Sophia was the one who told me all this. Tom always told me the good news and hid the bad. He would only say, Emily, baby, just wait a little longer. I'll definitely do it. But every time I saw him, he looked worse than the last. I didn't know what to say. All I could do was give him a big hug. Behind his back, where he couldn't see, I was secretly wiping away tears. I knew that every time we met, it was a countdown to our final goodbye. In a way, it was for the best. It gave me a long time to wean myself off him, to slowly let him go from my heart. The Price Corporation built a massive resort in Havenwood. It was about to open for the long 4th of July weekend, and they invited me to the ribbon-cutting ceremony. To my surprise, Sophia came too. And she brought a huge business deal with her. Our town of Havenwood is famous for its lemons, and the Song family happened to own a chain of tea shops. From now on, they would source their lemons from our town. We would never have to worry about unsold inventory again. Miss Song, how can I ever thank you? How about I fry you a chicken cutlet? Sophia tilted her head. She remembered the burnt piece of chicken from last time. She pouted and refused. Well, is there anything you want? Maybe I could treat you to. Sophia suddenly stepped forward and hugged me. I'm planning to go abroad. I had heard that the marriage alliance between the Song and Price families was off. Not postponed. Completely cancelled. Tom said he would rather die than marry me. Well, I don't want to marry him either. Ugh, what a jerk. It was rare to hear such words from the prim and proper Miss Song. I burst out laughing. Emily, I've grown up seeing people kiss up and step on others, acting one way to your face and another behind your back. But you're not like them. I genuinely want to be friends with you. She said I had inspired her, that she didn't want to be a loveless pawn in a corporate marriage anymore. She was about to go to Germany for her master's degree. To fulfill the scientific research dream she had put on hold. That's wonderful. I wish you all the best. When you get back, come find me anytime. It was the first time I had ever seen Sophia smile. I realized she had 2 little canine teeth that showed when she did. Emily, no wonder Tom likes you so much. That lucky bastard. Sophia pressed her cheek against mine. She smelled so nice. And my heart felt warm. It was so good. No conflicts, no catfights. We could both just be the best versions of ourselves. The year was up. My fried chicken stall had turned into a town-wide chain, with over a dozen locations. I wanted to come up with a nice name for the chain. So I created a verified account on social media and posted, asking for suggestions. The comments section was flooded with a unanimous response, all hail the fried chicken princess. Fine. The chain would be called the Fried Chicken Princess. Our live streaming channel had consistently high traffic online, attracting a lot of viewers. We capitalized on the holiday rushes, and with the timely development of the resort, Havenwood's revenue soared. Those long-stalled urban infrastructure projects were finally back on the agenda. I was invited to speak at the Havenwood Culture and Tourism Symposium. I was the first to give a speech. Someone asked, Ms. Tang, what would you say is the secret to your success today? I only had one answer, passion. Passion for my hometown, passion for life, passion for every piece of chicken I've ever fried. Passion is a never-ending fuel. After the symposium, I ran right into Tom. It had been 43 days since we last saw each other. He looked so much more haggard. He lowered his eyes, unable to look at me, not knowing what to say. I grabbed his sleeve. You've lost weight. Let's go get something to eat first. Tom couldn't eat a single bite. He held my hand and apologized over and over again. I smiled. It's okay. The Price family's success was built over many generations. You managed to hold on for this long on your own. You did your best. I understand. From 20 to 29. We weren't naive kids anymore. We fell in love for the sake of happiness. And now, we were separating for the sake of happiness, too. Sometimes, being in love really does come down to fate. Emily, is there anything else I can do for you? Just say the word. Think of it as me making it up to you. I said softly, Tom, I want us both to be okay. At the corner of a quiet alley, we shared one last hug. One last goodbye. If you ever run into a problem you can't solve, or if you're ever short on cash, come find me anytime. And if you meet someone you like again, don't let her go. I patted his head. Okay. We walked on the autumn leaves that carpeted the ground, our backs to each other, heading in opposite directions. I don't know if Tom ever looked back, or if he cried. I didn't. Regret is a part of life. But life goes on. Emily, always look forward. Never look back.